Today, I have an advanced English vocabulary masterclass for you so you can improve your English and speak more fluently and confidently in the next 1 hour. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. First, in this masterclass, let's start with a grammar point that I see a lot of students make mistakes with, and that's the conjugation of the verb have. It's simple, right? But what about when you use it in the present perfect or the past perfect and you have had? That's right, had. So let's learn all about the rules of using have. Now, our infinitive form of the verb is to have. Of course, we can use the infinitive in certain sentence structures. For example, I'd like to have more time. So here is the infinitive being used. Now, we can also use the base verb. The base verb is have. So we simply drop the to from the infinitive to get our base verb. We can also use the base verb in certain sentence structures. For example, I'll have time tomorrow. Here, we're using it in the future simple. We need will and a base verb. Our base verb is have. I'll have time tomorrow. Now here's where things get tricky. In the present simple form of the verb, we have two options. We have and has. Your choice depends on the subject. We use have for the subjects I, you, we, and they. For example, they have 2 kids. Now, we use has in the present simple for the subjects he, she, and it are third person singular. For example, she has 2 kids. The past form of the verb is had. This is for all subjects. For example, she had a muffin for breakfast. Now here's where things get tricky for students. Let's talk about the present perfect. So the present perfect with the verb have can be formed in 2 different ways. It can be formed as has had or have had. Now, had is the same for all subjects. It doesn't change. But has and have changes according to the subject. You already learned this with the present simple. So you know that we would use have had for our subjects I, you, we, and they. For example, we've had enough. And we use has had for subjects he, she, it, the third person singular. For example, she's had enough. Now notice how I'm using a contraction. I've, you've, we've, they've, she's, he's, it's. Native English speakers always use contractions with the present perfect, so I encourage you to get comfortable with that. So just remember, your choice between have had and has had depends on the subject, and we use has had for third person singular, he, she, it, and we use have had for all other subjects, I, you, we, and they. And now we come to had. This sounds really bizarre, right? But it's grammatically correct because this is the past perfect form of the verb. Now, had is used for all subjects, so it doesn't change. We use had for I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. So this one is easy to remember. You just have to remember that had is the past perfect, and have had and has had is the present perfect. That's the thing that you need to remember. Now, native English speakers also use contractions with had. So you're not going to hear a native speaker say had very often. You'll hear the contraction, and the contraction is very subtle. It's a very soft sound. I'd had, you'd had, he'd had, she'd had, it had, we'd had, they'd had. So it's a very soft d sound added to the subject. For example, he'd had a busy week. he'd had a busy week. So notice it sounds very similar to he had a busy week, which is just the past simple form of the verb. So let's listen to those two sentences again. He had a busy week. He'd had a busy week. I'd say even a native speaker would have a hard time hearing that difference. It's the sentence structure and the rest of the sentence that will let you know if it's a simple past or the past perfect. So you have to pay attention to context as well. So this is a lesson that you're going to have to review a few times to get comfortable with it, and I definitely recommend that you just take some notes so you remember that difference. And now I want you to practice. So of course, I want you to leave a present simple sentence, a past simple sentence, a present perfect sentence, and bonus points if you can leave a past perfect sentence as well. And remember, your conjugation depends on the subject. Amazing job. Now let's expand your vocabulary. Native speakers love using idioms. So you're going to learn 22 idioms that you can use in the workplace to impress your boss, impress your clients, and impress your colleagues. Let's review these idioms now. Our first idiom, to see eye to eye. To see eye to eye. This means that you agree with someone or that there is agreement. You could say, it's important that the team sees eye to eye on the project's objectives. You can commonly use this in the negative to say, we didn't see eye to eye on the project objectives, which means you didn't agree.
We don't see eye to eye.
Our next idiom is very similar. It's to be on the same page. This is when you have a shared understanding or agreement. So to see eye to eye is always with agreement, but to be on the same page is when you have the same understanding. So similar, but slightly different. For example, we need to be on the same page regarding the timeline for the project. We commonly use this with get. We need to get the team on the same page. So this sounds like right now the team isn't on the same page, and get is used for that transition. So we need to get the team on the same page. Go from not a general understanding to a general understanding.
We on the same page?
I love this one. To hit the nail on the head. This means that you describe exactly what is causing a problem or a situation. So simply, your description is 100% correct. For example, you really hit the nail on the head with your analysis. Your analysis was 100% correct. You could also use the something as the subject and say your analysis hit the nail on the head. Your analysis was 100% correct. Now don't worry about writing all of these idioms down because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF, so you can look for the link in the description. Our next idiom, to have a lot on one's plate. This likely describes you, it describes everyone.
I have a lot on my plate.
This means you're very busy or you have a lot of tasks to complete. You might say, I can't take on any more projects right now. I already have a lot on my plate. You could also say, I have a lot on my plate with the conference. So you could specify a specific task and then say you have many individual tasks for that one item, the conference. You have many different things to do. I have a lot on my plate with the conference. To get the hang of, this will make you sound very natural. This is when you become skilled with or familiar with something. You could say, it took a while, but I finally got the hang of the new software. So now you're familiar with the software. You're skilled at using the software. Or you could say, using idioms was tricky at first, but I got the hang of them. And hopefully my videos are helping you do that. So put in the comments, I got the hang of idioms. I got the hang of idioms. Because I'm sure you'll get the hang of them very quickly. Next, to cut corners. This is a negative one. When you cut corners, it means you do something in the quickest or the easiest way possible, but you sacrifice quality. Now, hopefully your company says we can't afford to cut corners with our safety measures. And that means your company is going to do things properly, even if it takes longer, even if it's more expensive, because they're not willing to sacrifice quality. And if your company doesn't say that, they'll get a bad reputation, and someone might say, don't use that company, they cut corners, which is not a positive thing.
You can't cut corners in life.
A ballpark figure. This is a sports reference, but it's extremely common in business. You need to know this one. A ballpark figure is an approximation or a rough estimate. So someone might ask, can you give me a ballpark figure for the budget of the project? They're asking you for an estimate. So not a specific number, just an estimate. The person could reply and say, we don't have the budget yet, but if I had to ballpark it, if I had to give you a ballpark figure, if I had to ballpark it, that's what a native speaker would say. If I had to ballpark it, I'd say $100,000. So that's my estimate of the budget, but it's not the exact number. It's just a ballpark figure.
Take a guess, ballpark figure.
Our next one, maybe you know this, to be in the same boat. Have you heard this one? This is when you're in the same difficult situation as someone else. We're in the same boat when it comes to global warming. We're all in the same situation. It doesn't matter if it happens in India or Africa or New York, it affects us all. We're all in the same boat.
I'm in the same boat.
Back to the drawing board. This one is frequently used. This is when you have to start a task or project again because your previous attempt failed. For example, the marketing campaign didn't work as expected, so it's back to the drawing board. To pull strings. Ooh, I love this one. This is when you use your influence to manipulate or control a situation. For example, she managed to pull some strings and get the project approved. So this sounds like the project wasn't approved, but she had influence. Maybe she knew someone on the board that was approving the project. So she used her relationship with that person to get the project approved. She pulled some strings to get the project approved. Someone might ask you, how did you get VIP tickets to Taylor Swift? And you can reply back and say, I pulled some strings. I pulled some strings. Our next idiom, to cross one's fingers. This is used to hope for good luck or a positive outcome. For example, I'm crossing my fingers that the client likes our proposal. And notice that I'm doing the gesture. We commonly do the gesture in North America when we use this expression. We also use this as a reply to say, I hope so. So someone might say, you'll do a great job on the presentation. And you can simply say, fingers crossed. But it's very common to do the gesture. Does this gesture exist in your culture? Let us know in the comments. Say yes it does or no it doesn't. I'm really curious to know. Fingers crossed. How about this idiom? To be on the ball. Do you know this one? This means that you're alert and quick to understand or respond. So this is a positive one. Your boss might say, our team needs to be on the ball to meet the tight deadline. So the team needs to be very quick, very alert. They need to be on the ball. Our next idiom, to throw in the towel. I hope you never do this. This means to give up or surrender. So if you say, English idioms are so confusing, I'm throwing in the towel, it means You're closing this video, you're unsubscribing from my channel, and you're quitting. So please don't throw in the towel.
She's throwing in the towel.
So put in the comments, I won't throw in the towel, I won't throw in the towel, because sometimes it might seem difficult, but keep at it. I know you'll get the hang of it. Number 14, to have one's hands tied. This means you're unable to take action because of external circumstances. So maybe you ask your boss for an extra day of vacation and your boss says, I'd like to help, but my hands are tied due to company policy. So the external situation or circumstance is the company policy. It forbids additional vacation days. So your boss can't do anything. Your boss's hands are tied. So to deliver bad news, a native speaker will commonly say, sorry, my hands are tied.
My hands are tied.
Next, to burn the midnight oil, something I never do. This is when you work late into the night. For example, we had to burn the midnight oil in order to meet the deadline. So I said this is something I never do, and that's because I believe that I'm more productive if I sleep for 8 hours. So I would rather sleep for 8 hours and then the next day I'll be very productive. If I burn the midnight oil, I'm going to waste an entire day because I'm not going to be productive. That's just my personal opinion. Next, to throw someone under the bus. Oh, this is a good one. This is when you blame someone else or sacrifice someone for personal gain or to avoid being blamed. So let's say two coworkers worked on a project together, but then one coworker publicly said the other coworker is the reason why the project failed, even though they made all decisions together. That coworker is going to be upset, and they can say, I can't believe she threw me under the bus at the meeting.
Sheldon threw us all under the bus.
Number 17, to be on thin ice. This is when you're in a risky or dangerous situation. So let's say your boss says to you, this is the third time you're late. You're on thin ice. That's not a good position to be because it means that you're in a risky or dangerous situation. In this case, you're at risk of losing your job. You're on thin ice. So management will say this to you to let you know that you're in trouble.
You're on thin ice.
Next, to hit a snag. This probably happens to people every single day. This is when you encounter unexpected problems, challenges, or difficulties. So let's say you're about to launch a new product and everything is going perfectly, but then we hit a snag when the supplier couldn't deliver the materials on time. But don't throw in the towel because I'm sure you can work through it. Number 19, to keep one's eyes peeled. This is when you stay alert and watchful for something specific. Your coworker could say, keep your eyes peeled for any updates on the project deadline. So your coworker is telling you to watch carefully for those updates.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Number 20, one that your boss is going to love, to cut a deal. This is when you reach an agreement. So an agreement is a positive thing. Your boss will be happy. But this usually happens after a period of negotiation. You could say, it took us a while, but we finally cut a deal.
Cut a new deal.
Number 21, to be up in the air. This is when things are uncertain, undecided, or unresolved. For example, the conference is up in the air. So it's uncertain if you're even going to have a conference or the status of it, the planning of it. Everything is uncertain, undecided, unresolved. It's up in the air. Or you could say, our plans are up in the air. Nothing has been decided.
That's up in the air.
And finally, number 22, in the works. In the works. This means in progress, so currently being developed or finalized. The conference is in the works. We're working on it. We're developing it. We're finalizing it. Our plans are in the works. So they're not up in the air anymore. They're in the works. Oh, you are going to have so much fun using those idioms at work. Now, let's keep going because you need to improve your listening skills so you can understand native speakers the first time. Adding idioms to your speech is a great way to do that, but let me share some other strategies as well right now. Here's how this lesson will work. I'm going to say a sentence at a fast pace 3 times, and you need to write down exactly what you hear in the comments. Are you ready? Let's start your first listening exercise. I'll say it 3 times. I'm a little rusty. I'm a little rusty. I'm a little rusty. Did you get this one? I said I'm a little rusty. Now notice here, I'm using a contraction, I'm. This is I am, I'm. Now let's talk about a little. Notice I didn't pronounce those T's. I pronounced them as soft D's. A little, little, the, little. And I connected them together, a little, a little. Now, sometimes native speakers will completely drop those T's and they won't pronounce it at all, and it will sound like lil, lil. And then again, you connect it with the a lil, a lil. A little rusty, a little rusty.
I'm a little rusty.
Now, what does it mean to be a little rusty? Rusty is an adjective. So for sentence structure, you need to use the verb to be rusty. I'm a little rusty, she's a little rusty. This is when a skill or an ability isn't as good as it used to be. Why? Because of lack of practice. So pay attention, English learners, because you don't want to say, I'm a little rusty with my English. You don't want to say that. You definitely don't want to say, I haven't watched a JForrest English lesson in months, so my English is a little rusty. That doesn't describe you, right? So put in the comments, I'm not rusty, because you're watching this lesson right now, you're practicing your English, which means you're not rusty. I'm not rusty, put it in the comments. You can use this with any skill or ability. It's commonly used with sports. Let's say you play tennis, but it's winter right now, so you can't play tennis because it's winter. You might say, I haven't played tennis in 6 months, so I'm very rusty. So notice in the sentence, I said, I'm very rusty. You could also talk about the specific skill or ability. You could say, my serve, my tennis serve, my serve is very rusty.
Well, my Latin's a little rusty.
Like pretty rusty.
I'm very rusty.
Let's try this again. I'll say it 3 times. We tweaked the plan. We tweaked the plan. We tweaked the plan. Did you get this one? I said we tweaked the plan. Now notice the pronunciation of tweak. This is in the past simple, so it's an ed verb. But because the verb ends on a k, we need a soft t. So it's not tweaked, that's incorrect. It's tweaked, tweaked. But when you use this in a sentence and there are words after, you're going to drop that T sound entirely. So notice how tweaked the sounds in this sentence. We tweaked the plan. It just sounds like the present simple, tweak. It's the context that will make it obvious that I'm talking about a past action, not the pronunciation. What does it mean to tweak something? When you tweak something, you change it slightly, so just a little. And you do that to make it more correct or more effective.
Uncle Jim's tweaking the 5-phase plan.
So let's say your friend or coworker wants you to review a speech they wrote and you really like it, but you don't like the conclusion. You might say, your speech is great, but I'd tweak the conclusion if I were you. So you're suggesting that they make a slight change, a small change to the conclusion to make it better, more effective.
I do have one small tweak.
Sorry, you have a tweak?
Now we also use this to make the changes that we've made sound less significant, so to sound small. So if someone gets upset because you changed their speech or presentation or plan, you can say, oh no, I didn't change it, I just tweaked it. Which means you did change it, but you only did it slightly, a very small amount. I just tweaked it.
And we tweak it.
Let's try this again. I'll say it 3 times. Keep an eye out for him. Keep an eye out for him. Keep an eye out for him. Did you hear what I said? I said keep an eye out for him. Now let's talk about an eye out. Because native speakers will combine all these sounds together so it sounds like one, an eye out, an eye out. And notice that I didn't say for him. I dropped that H sound on him and it sounded like for him, for him. And then it also sounds like one word. Keep an eye out for him. Let's take a look at the grammar because notice keep, this is the base verb. So that means it's the imperative verb tense. And I'm using this because I'm giving an order or a command. Keep an eye out for him. I'm not asking, I'm telling.
Just keep an eye out.
This is an expression and it means that you watch carefully for someone or something. So let's say you're driving along and you have car troubles. Maybe you get a flat tire, so you have to pull to the side of the road. Now, while you're trying to fix the car, maybe you tell your friend, keep an eye out for other cars. So watch carefully for other cars so you can say, help, help, we need help. Or you might say, keep an eye out for snakes because maybe you're in the desert.
I'll keep an eye out.
We use this a lot in the workplace. Let's say you're expecting a delivery, but you have to leave to go to a meeting. You might say to your coworker, I'm going to a meeting, can you keep an eye out for the delivery? So you're asking your coworker to watch for the delivery, but watch carefully.
Keep an eye out.
Let's try this one more time. I'll say it 3 times. Can you show her the ropes? Can you show her the ropes? Can you show her the ropes? Do you know what I said? I said, can you show her the ropes? Now notice can, because this is an auxiliary verb, it's not the main verb, it's pronounced as kin. It's an unstressed sound, kin. Can you show? Because show is the main verb. Can you show her? Now here, her, same thing, we can drop that H and it will sound like Can you show her?
I'm happy to show her the ropes.
When you show someone the ropes, and notice ropes is always plural. When you show someone the ropes, this is an expression and we use it when you show someone how to do a job or an activity or a task. So if there's a new employee or a new member on your team, your boss might ask you, can you show her the ropes? And you can say, I'm happy to show her the ropes. And if you're the new employee receiving the training, after you can say, thanks so much for showing me the ropes.
Like no one showed me the ropes?
Don't worry, we showed her the ropes.
Then Dr. Yang is showing him the ropes.
Now let's do an imitation exercise so you can practice your pronunciation. I'm going to say each sentence 3 times and I want you to repeat each sentence out loud. I'm a little rusty. I'm a little rusty. I'm a little rusty. We tweaked the plan. We tweaked the plan. We tweaked the plan. Keep an eye out for him. Keep an eye out for him. Keep an eye out for him. Can you show her the ropes? Can you show her the ropes? Can you show her the ropes? You're doing an amazing job. You'll already be able to understand native speakers better, but native speakers, we use slang in our speech. And there's very common slang that we use again and again, and that you'll hear YouTubers, TikTokers, and other people on movies, TV shows use. So let's review the most common slang that native speakers use so you can understand us in all situations. First is legit. That movie was legit. She's legit. Do you know what this means? Legit is short for legitimate. So we just take that first part, legit, legitimate. And in this context, legit means awesome, great, or the real deal, which is another slang expression. So if you think that this YouTube channel is awesome, great, it's the real deal in the sense that it truly helps you improve your English communication skills, you can say JForrest English is legit. So put that in the comments because you'll sound really cool, just like a native speaker, your favorite TikToker, your favorite YouTuber.
She's legit.
Next, salty. Don't be so salty. Why are you salty? Salty means irritated, annoyed, or bitter. Bitter meaning just unpleasant to be around, a negative person. Negative energy, negative vibes. You don't want that. So you could say, I try to avoid salty people and surround myself with positive people. And I love reading the comment section because everyone is so positive. Sometimes I get salty comments, but that's normal. In general, everyone is very positive. So thank you so much for not being salty. Let's talk about flex. Someone might say, she's always flexing about her adorable cats. To flex means to show off or to boast. To boast is simply when you talk about your achievements in a very positive way, but they're your own achievements. Now, to flex is this motion right now. Notice I don't have any muscles, but if you go to the gym, a lot of guys will flex in the mirror to show off their muscles, to show off, to boast. So that's where this expression comes from. Now, to be honest, I do flex about my cats a lot, but they're so adorable. How could I not flex about them? They are just the best. I hope my flexing doesn't make you salty. Next, let's talk about shady. That email looks shady. I wouldn't click that link if I were you. Or maybe, don't partner with him. He's shady. Do you know what this means? To be shady, so it's an adjective, it's used when something like a link in an email or someone is suspicious, not trustworthy, or deceitful.
Because he's being shady.
Now let's talk about low-key. The party was pretty low-key. What does that mean? Do you know? It means the party was calm, not intense. But keep in mind, this isn't a negative thing. Some people might not enjoy low-key parties, but other people may prefer them. So it isn't negative, it just depends on your preference. For example, I just want a low-key birthday party. So you can let the people planning your party know that you want something calm, relaxed.
Dinner, something casual, low-key.
How about this one? That party was cray-cray. Do you know what cray-cray means? Cray-cray is the same as crazy. We just take the cray from crazy, and for some reason, we say it twice. Why? I have no idea. Someone did it on TikTok and it went viral and now all native speakers do it. That party was cray-cray. Crazy, intense, the opposite of low-key. We also use this with people. My mother-in-law is cray-cray.
You girls are cray-cray.
How about this one? Sam's being so extra. Do you know what that means? Well, I didn't know what this meant a few months ago. In fact, this is exactly what my friend said to me. Her husband's name is Sam, and she said, Sam's being so extra. And I said, extra what? Extra what? 100% I'm not lying. That is exactly how I replied. I said, extra what? Because usually it sounds being so extra nice, extra mean, extra annoying. You include an adjective to complete it, right? So I was confused and I had to learn this expression from my friend. To be extra, in this case, extra is the adjective. To be extra means dramatic or excessive. So why did my friend think her husband was being extra? Well, maybe she could say to me, I asked him to clean the kitchen and he made a big deal of it. He's being so extra.
Yeah, he was so extra, right?
How about this one? Samara is so flaky. Samara is such a flake. Do you know what this means? We have flaky or a flake. They mean the same thing. And this means unreliable or inconsistent.
Truth, he's a total flake.
Let's say you asked your friend to take you to the airport to confirm that your friend is in fact going to pick you up and take you to the airport, because sometimes your friend is a flake, sometimes your friend is flaky, unreliable. You can confirm by saying, don't flake out on me. Don't flake out on me. So you're confirming with your friend that she isn't going to be a flake and she is in fact going to pick you up and take you to the airport. So your friend can reply back and say, I promise I won't flake out. How about lit? The party was lit. The concert's gonna be lit. To be lit means exciting, impressive, or highly enjoyable. You guys, my next video is gonna be lit. So I'm letting you know my next video is going to be awesome, so make sure you watch it. It's gonna be lit.
This party is totally lit.
This party is gonna be so lit.
But what if I say the movie was a flop? What does that mean? A flop. To be a flop.
It was a total flop.
This means unsuccessful, disappointing, or not well received. So ultimately, people didn't like it. It was a flop. So you might have a great idea for something, but then it turns out to be a flop, unsuccessful. Don't worry, that happens. That happens to me with my lessons as well. My lesson was a flop. It got a lot of thumbs down, or not many people liked it, or they were really salty in the comments. But hopefully you don't think that about this lesson. Hopefully you say, your lesson's a hit. A hit. This is our next slang expression. To be a hit, this means successful, well received, the opposite of a flop. So the movie was a hit.
This movie could have been a hit.
Number 12. This is one you definitely need to know. Hangry. Have you heard this before? Sorry, I'm just hangry. Hangry is a combination of hungry and angry. So it's when you become angry only because you're hungry. That's the reason why. So do you get hangry? I get hangry if I miss lunch. Well, at least that's what my husband says. Or if you're on a long road trip, you might say, we'd better find a restaurant before the kids get hangry.
Someone's hangry.
And finally, one you absolutely need to know, ghost. I can't believe she ghosted me. Do you know what this means? To ghost, here we're using ghost as a verb, to ghost someone. Someone ghosts someone.
She's ghosting you?
Cece ghosted me.
And this is to end all communication with someone, but without warning and without explanation. So all of a sudden, you get no more messages, no more replies, and you have no idea why. Because as far as you're concerned, everything was going great. And this is most commonly used in romantic relationships. I guess because people are too afraid to simply let the other person know that they're just not into them. So they ghost them. Now you have so much vocabulary that you can use to understand native speakers and sound like one too. Now let's do something different. Let's review a news article together. Reading is one of the best ways to improve your fluency because you can learn grammar, vocabulary, sentence structure, and pronunciation if you have a native speaker reading. So that's what we'll do right now. First, I'll read the headline. Researchers discover oldest known black hole that existed not long after the Big Bang. So let's talk about this, the oldest known black hole. So in this case, notice how I said the oldest, but it's not here. You might be wondering about that because you might know that you need the when you're making superlative statements. But in headlines, they often leave out essential grammar just to make the headline shorter. So you need the oldest, the greatest, the best, the strongest, the youngest. If you're making a superlative, you need the oldest. The oldest black hole. Now, known in this case is not functioning as a verb. For example, I've known about the black hole for 20 minutes. I put that example here. So in this case, it's the verb know, but it's in the participle form. I've known about the black hole for 20 minutes. But in this case, known is an adjective. It means understood or proven. Let's look at this. This should be it's. It's a fact that your videos are helpful. So you could say that to me, Jennifer, it's a fact that your videos are helpful. Thank you so much. Now you could add it's a known fact because remember, adjectives are not required for grammar, so I can take it out and it's still grammatically correct. But when I add it's a known fact, I'm making it sound like it's something that's more understood by a large number of people, or you could even prove it. So I'm just emphasizing the point. It's a known fact that your videos are helpful. So it sounds stronger than just saying it's a fact. So if you agree with this, I want you to put it's a known fact in the comments. Put, Jennifer, it's a known fact that your videos are helpful. It's a known fact. Put it in the comments. Now, don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF, so you can look in the description for the link. So let's continue and learn about this black hole. So I guess this is an image right here in this box of the black hole. I am not a science expert. I don't know very much about black holes. Do you? Because maybe I will learn a lot about black holes in this article, and you'll learn a lot about black holes and English from this article. The discovery of a gigantic black hole billions of light years from Earth is giving researchers a clear picture of the dawn of the universe. Gigantic, this is another adjective for very large, extremely large. So if you want to emphasize large, you can use gigantic. I have a gigantic problem. I ate a gigantic piece of cake. I wrote those examples for you. Now let's talk about light years. I did not know what this was. Well, I have an idea, but I didn't know what the exact definition of a light year is. I knew it was a form of measurement. So it's the distance that light travels in 1 year. I did not know that it was in 1 year. And I certainly did not know that it's 9.5 million kilometers. I can't even imagine how many kilometers that is. That's a light year. And this is a gigantic black hole, billions of light years. So remember, 1 light year is 9.5 million kilometers. So just imagine how far away billions of light years is. Can't imagine it. Billions of light years from Earth is giving researchers a clearer picture. So remember I said before, when you have a superlative, we use the, because you could say is giving researchers the clearest picture, but, and you would need to use the, and when you have the EST, the clearest picture. But that's not the meaning, because it changes the meaning. A clearer is just a comparative. It's more than previous, but it's not the clearest, which is the absolute greatest, the clearest picture, a clearer picture of the dawn of the universe. Dawn is a period of time in the morning when the sun rises, and that takes place at different times around the world, right? So if you said, I start work before dawn, it means you start work before the sun rises. So if the sun rises at 5 a.m. in your country, it means you start work at 4:45, 4:30, or any time before dawn. So that is just dawn as a time reference that we use in our daily routines. But when you say the dawn of something, it means the beginning of something. And we generally use this with an extremely important event. So the universe being created, obviously an extremely important event. Right now, you could say the dawn of the internet age revolutionized the way we work. So this is the start of the internet. So you don't even need age here. Age represents era, time reference. The dawn of the internet, the start of the internet, revolutionized the way we work. So it's just a more academic, a more literary, poetic way of saying the start of. But remember, we only use it for very important, significant events. Researchers were able to pinpoint the oldest black hole ever discovered. So again, here we have oldest with EST, so we know it's a superlative, so we need the. And because we're no longer in the headline, remember in the headline, they leave out grammar, but as soon as you get to the main article, they're going to use all the necessary grammar required, and the is required grammatically. Let's talk about pinpoint. This is a great verb to have in your vocabulary. When you pinpoint something, you discover the exact location, but we also use this for facts. So you understand, you discover the specific facts of something. So exact location, or I'll say specific facts of something. So my example here, we're still trying to pinpoint the bug. Imagine a computer bug, a computer problem. Now, it could be the location of it. You don't know where on your server or where in the software program that bug is. So you have to pinpoint the location. But it could also be more the facts. So why is this happening? What is the cause of it? What is the solution? How long has this been going on? So those are all the facts. And in this case, we don't really know which it is. But if you say, oh, we're trying to pinpoint the location, then it's obvious you're trying to find the exact location. So this is a great verb to add to your vocabulary. And not only is it ancient, but it's absolutely colossal. Ancient means extremely old. And notice the pronunciation, chint, chint, ancient, ancient. So as an adjective, it's to be ancient. That building is ancient. Not only is it ancient, but it's absolutely colossal. In this case, absolutely is just a intensifier. It's extremely, very, and colossal also means large, extremely large, very large. So colossal already means very large, and then you add absolutely, which makes it even stronger. But remember before, do you remember the word? What was the other adjective? That means very large, gigantic. So Either one, they both sound extremely large. And then you can add absolutely to make it sound even stronger. 10 times bigger than the black hole in our own Milky Way. So this is our galaxy, and there's a black hole in it. Formed 470 million years after the Big Bang, its existence confirms the theory that supermassive black holes were part of the early universe. Scientists estimate that the universe is 13.7 billion years old, which makes the age of the black hole 13.2 billion years. So clearly, they're emphasizing here how old the black hole is. Now notice here, formed. Now they don't have the subject. They start with formed, and then this, its existence, the black hole's existence confirms. Here's a simple example to understand this grammar structure. So we take the ed form of the verb, and then you have some additional information to describe the sentence. So in this case, this is the sentence. The company represented the dawn of AI. So remember this, the dawn of, the start of AI. The company represented the dawn of AI. So this on its own is a completed sentence. The company represented the dawn of AI. But if I wanted to give more information about the company, I can start by giving that information first. And then I can use a comma, and then I have my completed sentence. Formed in 2021, the company represented the dawn of AI. Now, other ways of saying formed, you could say established, created, started. Those are different ways, but notice they use the ed form. So this is a very common sentence structure. It's a little more advanced, and if you use it, it will make your writing look more advanced as well. Let's continue. The researchers believe the black holes formed from huge clouds of gas that collapsed in a galaxy next to another with stars. Okay. So they're talking about the formation of black holes in general, not necessarily this specific black hole because it's in plural. So we're talking about black holes in general. The black holes formed from huge clouds of gas. So again, huge, we could say giant or colossal, because huge also means very large. Gigantic, well, I said giant. You could say giant. Gigantic, colossal, clouds of gas that collapsed. So when something collapses, it means it goes from a upright position into a down position. So let's take a house. You have a solid house, but then if that house falls and everything is in one single layer, you would say the house collapsed. That would be very unlikely to happen, but a roof could collapse, and that is more possible. But a very ancient, extremely old, an ancient house, an ancient barn, an ancient garage or shed structure could collapse. So massive, well, there's another one I just said that wasn't on this list of ways to say very large. Massive clouds of gas that collapsed in a galaxy next to another galaxy. So next to is besides. So we have one galaxy and then another galaxy with stars. The two galaxies joined and the black hole was in control. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure what this means because I don't have a science background, but you learn some other ways to say very large. And if your background is more scientific, you've studied black holes or anything like that, feel free to share your information about the meaning of this article. So this isn't part of the article, but I wanted to have a very simple definition of what a black hole is, because although I have a general idea of what a black hole is, I wasn't 100% certain. So I asked ChatGPT, what is a black hole? That's what I put in ChatGPT. So let's see the answer. A black hole is like the cosmic vacuum cleaner of the universe. Cosmic as an adjective simply means that it relates to the universe. So a black hole is like the vacuum cleaner of the universe. So now you have an image of a vacuum cleaner because everyone knows what a vacuum cleaner is. So imagine you're sucking up, you're vacuuming a bunch of dirt in your living room. So now you can imagine that's what happens in a black hole. So that's helpful. It's always helpful for me, at least, to have an image of what these things are or to relate it to an everyday object that we know, like a vacuum cleaner. It's a region in space where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape from it. So I guess the fact that light cannot escape from it. So if light could escape from it, so again, remember the vacuum cleaner, but light is getting sucked into the vacuum cleaner. So notice that's a verb I used when I was describing the vacuum. I said you're sucking up some dirt in your living room because that's what a vacuum cleaner does. It sucks. That's the motion. So when dirt goes into it, it sucks up the dirt. So the light gets sucked up by the vacuum, by the black hole. So that's probably why it's black hole, because there's no light, because light cannot escape it. Imagine a massive star. Massive, I added it to the list of adjectives for very large. A massive star running out of fuel. When you run out of something, it means you have none left. So this means that the star has zero fuel left. But if it's running out of, it means it's still in the progress. It's still in progress. So it's in the progress of running out of fuel. So it might have some fuel left now. So to have none left. That's when you use it as a completed action. So you could say, my car ran out of gas. So this means your car has zero gas. My car is running out of gas. So you do have some gas. So you have some gas, but not a lot. And you're almost at zero. You're going to be at zero soon. Okay. So I'll just make these proper sentences with periods and capitalized first letter. So imagine a massive star running out of fuel and collapsing under its own gravity. So we have a whole star, but it has no fuel left. So it collapses, it flattens under its own gravity. So the weight of the star's gravity causes it to collapse. It's like a bottomless pit in space. So bottomless means a pit is like a giant hole. So again, black hole, because that's what a pit is. A pit is a very large hole. But if it's a bottomless pit, it means it does not have a bottom. So imagine there's a hole in your backyard, a pit in your backyard, which is a hole, and you look in it and it just goes forever. There's no bottom to it. And everything gets sucked into that pit. Now, gobbling up anything that gets too close. Gobbling up, this is a way of saying consume quickly. For example, the guests gobbled up my pie, so they consumed it quickly. Because your pie was really good. It was delicious. So this is a positive thing. Oh, my guests gobbled up my pie. They consumed it quickly. But if you say my car gobbles up gas, that isn't a positive thing because your car, your vehicle consumes gas quickly, which means it isn't fuel efficient. So it can be positive to gobble something up, but it can also be negative. So it means to consume quickly. It's like a bottomless pit in space gobbling up anything that gets too close. So I really like this description. I find it's easier for me, at least, to understand what a black hole is if I can have an image of it. So now I have this image of what a black hole is. Let me know if that was helpful for you. And again, if your area of expertise is science or studying the universe, then feel free to share more information about this, because I feel very confident teaching you the language, the English language, but to be honest, I don't feel that confident teaching you about black holes. So don't learn black holes from me. And that is the end of our article. So what I'll do now is I'll go to the beginning of the article and I'll read it from start to finish, and this time you can focus on my pronunciation. Researchers discover oldest known black hole that existed not long after the Big Bang. The discovery of a gigantic black hole billions of light years from Earth is giving researchers a clearer picture of the dawn of the universe. Researchers were able to pinpoint the oldest black hole ever discovered. And not only is it ancient, but it's absolutely colossal. 10 times bigger than the black hole in our own Milky Way. Formed 470 million years after the Big Bang, its existence confirms the theory that supermassive black holes were part of the early universe. Scientists estimate that the universe is 13.7 billion years old, which makes the age of the black hole 13.2 billion years. The researchers believe the black holes formed from huge clouds of gas that collapsed in a galaxy next to another with stars. The two galaxies joined, and the black hole was in control. ChatGPT, what is a black hole? A black hole is like the cosmic vacuum cleaner of the universe. It's a region in space where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape from it. Imagine a massive star running out of fuel and collapsing under its own gravity. It's like a bottomless pit in space, gobbling up anything that gets too close. Amazing job! You've completed the masterclass. Do you want me to make more masterclasses to help you become fluent in English? If you do, then put yes, I do. Put yes, I do in the comments so I know you want more masterclasses. And of course, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And you can keep improving your English with this lesson right now.